Hi friends, strangers, internet. My name is Emily Hanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. Today I am here with the Cake Face collaboration. The Cake Face collaboration is a group collaboration where we're doing makeup inspired by fancy ass cakes. This idea was spawned by Kara at Mascara Cakes. We were actually talking about doing a collaboration between the two of us, and then she had the brilliant idea not only to do this collaboration, but to make it a group thing. Not only do you have videos from me and Kara to watch, but you are going to have a video from Abby Williamson, Alex the Alchemist, Kara C, Karen Harris Makeup, and me as Virtual Vanity to watch. I will have everyone's videos listed in the description box. So I think I said, this collaboration is us doing makeup inspired by fancy custom cakes. Kara, I think, recently fell down into a little black hole of looking at decorated cakes on Instagram, and she was super inspired. And I thought this was a really cool way to get inspired by makeup because there are so many cakes out there in the world. So how we set up this collaboration was kind of like Secret Santa. We were all assigned someone else and we gave them the cake that they were to be inspired by. Alex got my name, and the cake that I was assigned is this beautiful blushy floral cake from a cake school called Don't Tell Charles. We have no specific rules on how we are to be inspired by this cake, so there's no limitations on how extreme or how simple you want to take your makeup. I know I've done a lot of pink looks lately, but this is what was assigned to me, so I'm just gonna run with it. So the cake that I'm inspired by is on the screen. I will have the photo from Instagram linked in the description box along with the cake artist. And I also have an image that I'm using as kind of an inspiration for eyeshadow placement. I'm gonna throw up on the screen there. I'll also have that in the description box. So that's kind of my inspiration for placement. The rest we're just gonna play and see how it goes. And while I'm doing my makeup, the other reason why this theme kind of got me extra excited is that I worked at a bakery for almost 7 years. I have some stories I could tell. So I did operations, social media, kind of management, some HR. So I have seen some things. I did phone calls, I did emails, I worked in the storefront, I interacted with extremely high-end clients that don't understand that money can't buy magic. I kind of built this collaboration up in my head. I knew I have this background and it's such a cool concept, and you know, it's a group thing, and I felt like it was really inspired, and I have perfectionist tendencies sometimes. So I really built this up as something that I wanted to do, something super fucking cool and really creative. And you know, I have the bakery experience, so like, how could I incorporate that? The thing that I realized is that like, yes, I have a lot of stories I could tell, except sometimes the brain takes care of you when it comes to trauma, and you'll forget things because it is taking care of yourself. I'm not talking totally eloquently about this. Some of the worst stories and things that I experienced there, I'm pretty sure I've forgotten about, because that's gonna be what's best for my brain and my mental health. But I'm, you know, annoyed by it because I'm in content, you know? I don't know what that accent was about. But then I was actually messaging with Kara C today. So she's on vacation when everything goes live, and I know before she left, she was stressing about this collaboration and getting it filmed. And you know, I had posted something on my social media saying I still hadn't filmed it, and she just kind of was commiserating with me. And I said to her, I was like, I wanted to talk about like my worst bakery stories, but my brain, like I can't remember them. And she was saying how she's had a similar experience when people ask for bad client stories, from her being a lawyer, and her brain has blocked them out. So I was just like, oh, at least I'm not alone. I mean, I feel like when it comes to mental health things, we're never alone, but sometimes we just need that reminder. I decided I would just sit down and kind of think about it just a little bit more before I came on to film. And I did come up with a couple of stories. One of the funniest kind of characters that we had in the store, and by character I mean like he was a regular customer and he was just a super cool dude, but he was also kind of a character in my head. So he was working on a construction, like a building being constructed. Brooklyn, new buildings, all that good stuff. And so he would come in pretty much every day. He was on site. And so at this bakery, we sold tarts, like 4-inch round, tarts. And we had a couple of different flavors. And we had one that was, I always think of it as like a grown-up candy bar. It had like chocolate and caramel and like different layers of chocolate, and it had some salt on top. It was a rich thing. And it's one of those desserts that you would think people would eat on a plate, and you would serve with a knife and fork. He would come in almost every day, buy one of those, and eat it like a slice of pizza. He would just take it and just bite into it and eat that tart in like 60 seconds. It was just the funniest thing to almost all of us because it was just his thing. So many of us were just like, damn, dude. He was also like a muscly construction guy, so I think some of the retail staff was like, that's what you can do to that chocolate caramel tart. I don't know, there was just something about it that was like vaguely sexual as well. He was just such a dude's dude, and I think also because it's such a like adult dessert of all the things we sold, so to see it literally get manhandled like that was always funny. Now this I didn't experience myself, but I had a lot of staff retell the story over and over again. So we had some stuff behind a sneeze guard, and it didn't have to be covered if there's a sneeze guard. So our whole shtick was like Americana. And so we sold some like snack cake kind of, wow, I thought about them as dupes. They were dupes though, like snack cake dupes, but like way better. There was this guy, super tall guy. So he was in the store. I think he had picked out a couple of things and ordered a coffee. So the staff was packing everything up for him, and they were like, telling him his order back to him as they were at the register. And he's like, oh, there was 2 of the snack cakes, not 1. And they were like, oh, let me go pack this other one up for you. And he's like, no, I already ate it. Dude had reached over the sneeze guard with his bare hands, picked up an item, and ate it. I think while the staff was like making him a latte. You were walking around the streets of Brooklyn and you put your bare hands onto our food product. And there's no way to know if you touched other things or not. You thought that was okay? I mean, what? Come on. Like, in what world do you think that's okay? Who raised you? It was truly so disturbing. I mean, speaking of customers who I just don't understand and wonder who raised them, I saw so many customers leave the bakery with an expensive cake in their hand, and then they would jaywalk across a 4-lane, very busy street with the cake in their hands. It was in a box, but you jaywalk on a busy street with $200, $300, $400 in your arms. No cares in the world. What? I mean, obviously, it's your money. Do whatever you want, but like, I have such a hard time understanding how somebody could do that. Like, you or your significant other, someone that you're with, is driving. You couldn't tell them to make a U-turn, come to the front of the bakery. The worst. Okay, so we had a lot of people that would come to pick up a cake and get an Uber. That's fine. You know, for us, it was like if you have a big cake and you're picking up and, you know, you see the cake and then you call your Uber, like, we have space behind the scenes that we can sit the cake down for you while you wait for your car, because we all understand that the thing is heavy and like we didn't have a huge storefront area. This one comes to the bakery. She picks up a half sheet cake. A half sheet cake is in a big box. It's a big cake. It's like a cake for 50 people. So it's a big cake that's in a bigger box. One person can hold it, but you wouldn't really want to be holding it for an extremely long period of time. She gets this cake and for some reason refuses to wait inside the store for her Uber. But it's raining outside. So she's outside waiting for her Uber, and she decides that she is going to sit this big cardboard box on like the corner of a tree planter in Brooklyn in New York, you know, trying to plant lots of trees, and there's little planters, which are basically just little walls around a tree. The ones around us weren't even, it's not like a bench, you can't sit on it. It's like putting a big box that's already wet on like 3 little sticks. Don't understand. Like, you could have just done this, you could have just kept it inside. Then I find out, because I didn't see any of this happening, I find out that she also jaywalked across the 4 avenues with her wet, squishy cardboard box. By the time the cake came back to us, because it did come back to us, basically looked like the cake had slid and squished across the box because rain, putting it on an uneven planter, walking across the street, jaywalking in the rain, being a smaller, petite woman who probably was not ready to hold a cake that heavy. I wouldn't have been either. If you imagine a cake that's like this big, we were able to save about this much of it and give her a nice looking round cake, and we might have given her the rest of the scrap. I feel like all I know is that like a third of the big cake was salvageable. Was that even a fun or interesting story? I don't know. Why would you go out in the rain when we're totally happy to hold your cake inside? And, you know, whenever you're ready, even our staff will help you take it out to the car. And you can tell your Uber that they have to come around to the storefront. and not be across the street. Oh no, but you're in such a rush. You don't want them to do a U-turn because then they'd have to circle around to go back that direction as well. Just, there was also a time when, so I believe we had delivered the cake to the venue, but then some of the staff is moving the cake from the storage to, I guess, the display. And New York City buildings are so lovely and so, weird and twisty and turny that these staff taking this like 3-tier cake from some place to another, and they're in a staircase that is like small, and there's like 2 people trying to carry this cake in a box through this, like, I'm almost imagining like a spiral staircase, like something in that effect of just weird. And they drop the cake. So we get a call, not from the client, but from the venue. That's like, can you fix this issue? And it's, let's say, 6 p.m. They've had the cake since maybe 2 p.m. This just happened. The cake portion of the party is happening at 9 p.m. But here's the thing, 6 p.m. most of the staff is gone, except for me and the bakery owners. Now, at that point in time, the bakery owners, they had been making custom cakes for years and years and years, but they were older. So the reality is that most of the work that was happening in the bakery was not happening by them. But, when something like that happens, they're gonna say yes, because that means that they can make more money. So I just remember being there, this cake showing up. It looked like the middle tier. So, our cakes were nice and rounded. It looked like somebody had like smashed. So it went from a very like straight side to this, like it had this like smash all the way around 1 or 2 of the tiers. So the weird thing with that one was that, they wanted to fix the cake, but the actual client didn't know about it. And to me, that was the sketchy part of it, where I was like, oh, so the client never saw the original version of the cake. I think they ended up only seeing the like fixed version. Well, I don't know how I would feel if I was that person, being like, oh, here's your cake, and you're like, but what is this? Like, I know they did a pretty good job in the end, but it wasn't what the cake originally looked like. And the thing that was so weird is that whenever something went wrong, a lot of times, because my schedule is so fucked up there, that I would be the person that's there late. And if something happened and all of a sudden the owners had to fix something, a lot of times I was the person that was like, oh, product is here, how they did this is this way. And they had a lot of control in a lot of ways over their business, but then they didn't have a lot of knowledge sometimes over how things were being made, or how this staff person was doing it, or these other things. And it was very weird to me, because I felt like it was like almost a delusional level of control, where it's like they felt like they had this control, but they really didn't know what was going on. And I mean, maybe this is how businesses are. That was not my only job, but that was my job for such a long period of time that it's totally possible that I'm just out of touch. It also kind of made me sad, because I was like, if you're a business owner, like, is this what you're destined to be like? Is this how it is? Are all business owners this way? Like, all about the control, but not really in touch with how their staff is? I'd be curious to know, like, if you're in the food industry, or if you're in another industry and you're working, in a small business kind of situation, I would be very curious to know. Those weren't the only cake crashes, but those are the only ones that I can really think of. I'm gonna do the other eye and the rest of my, I'm gonna do the other side of my face off camera, and then I'll be back with probably the best horror story. Yeah, the best horror story. So I have this gold gel that I mixed up using the NYX mixing medium and some gold eyeshadow. I'm gonna incorporate this somehow on my face, and then after that's done, I'm gonna decide if I feel like I'm done with this look. The thing that I find so sad is that I feel like everyone I know, especially every woman or feminine presenting person, if they worked in customer service, retail, the food industry, anything in or around those worlds, you kind of get to a point where sexual harassment just kind of feels like it's a part of the story, whether you want it or not. It's just there. And, you know, if you don't deal with it one day, you're just like, oh great, awesome, this was a good day. But if it does come your way, it's just life. I mean, you know, we all feel the things, but a lot of times there's this like little bit of just resignation of like, well, that's what life is. Anyway, so my experience, this story, you know, as I said, we made snack cakes at this bakery, and something that we made was Twinkies. This person was a regular. One day he was in the store and he was, you know, raving about the Twinkies, bought some Twinkies. He was one of those kinds of customers that's a talkative one and likes to tell, you know, other people in the store how amazing his favorite product is and how everyone should get it, which, you know, that's fine. If you want to talk up a customer, I'm sure I've been that person in a place that I love. It felt like one of those days where it was close to closing time. And my general protocol is that once we close, I don't answer the phone. My managers want to do that, that's fine. That's their choice, but I sure as fuck don't. But I remember that day he was in there, and right before closing, like a minute before, the phone rings. I pick it up. It's that regular customer who basically told me that, this is how my brain has paraphrased it. Basically, he told me that the Twinkie that he just ate was better than sex. These are not... Don't do that. Don't do that. Do not tell the staff of a place you just got something from that their product is better than sex. They don't need a phone call. They don't need that phone call. Now, this is even mild in the scheme of what a lot of people have to deal with, but you also didn't hear his tone of voice. And when somebody says something and they have that tone where you're like, you could have just done something really fucking disgusting and then picked up the phone. That's what his voice sounded like. He sounded like he was cleaning himself up and then he picked up the phone. No, don't fucking do that, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. It was just yet another example of like, I don't want to interact with people. Let's not do that again. So after lots of gold liner detail later, I think we're done. This eye did not get as much detailing because I'm just going to be covered up anyway. And one final little piece of advice. If you go in somewhere or call somewhere and interact with an employee, be kind to them. They might be grumpy, but that also might be because they were just sexually harassed on the phone or in person. I'm not saying every grumpy retail person is because of sexual harassment. I'm just saying that you never know the kind of shit you will have to deal with. So what do y'all think? Did I capture the essence of that cake? Did I do the cake face collab justice? Or are you just too distracted by this damn wig? Because I am. I'm feeling oddly indifferent. That's okay though, because y'all always hype me up in the comments and that does not go unnoticed. Thank you to Kara over at Mascara Cakes for this awesome idea. Thank you for Alex the Alchemist for giving me such a fun and blushy cake to be inspired by. I can't wait to see everybody's video and to just see how everybody was inspired. If y'all have any like other things you want me to use as inspiration for future makeup looks, feel free to leave them in the comments. Don't forget to check out everyone else's videos. I will have them all linked in the description box. And if you are here from anyone else's channel, thank you so much for coming by. If you would like to follow along with my colorful shenanigans, I would love to have you as a new subscriber. I also have a Patreon. Thank you to all of my existing patrons. And if you're interested in supporting me a little further, I would love to have you over there on Patreon. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Nomnivorous. And thank you for spending some of your day with me. I hope to see you again real soon. Bye, friends.